Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the postgame press conference of the first round in the 2023 NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championships, hosted at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. A reminder that the open locker room portion for Miami is now closed. On the dais, we are joined by head coach Katie Meyer, senior Haley Cavender, and graduate student Destiny Harden. Coach Meyer, if you would make an opening statement, and then we'll go to questions.
Even though I've had a lot of time waiting here, it still is shocking what just happened. Not surprising, just it's physically like shocking to have to flip the switch and play completely different style of basketball. 20 minutes versus the first 20 minutes. I'm so proud of my team. Obviously Oklahoma State, like what a great season, what a great team. They were sharing the ball. They were just way better than us in the first half. They were unselfish. They were stronger with the ball, and they had intention in what they were doing. So we really did want to press them. It was part of the plan, but it was very hard to press them when you only score 20 points in the first half, not many field goals, not many opportunities to press. So the team was really talking when we walked in at halftime, like really talking. And usually they have to write something on the board. And I was ready to be mad, like, why didn't you say anything on the board? And they said, because we've been sitting here talking, figuring this out. We've been having a conversation. And I was like, well, don't let me interrupt. What y'all got? You know, it was one of those things. And they started giving some information. We started giving some information. But honestly, you know, I'm getting texts saying great adjustments, great this, great that. I'd love to say that, you know, we made all these great adjustments. We played better, and we played more together. And they knew it, and we knew it, and it wasn't like we didn't want to bail them out and say, okay, we're going to reinvent the wheel. We're down 17. It's like we left at least 12 points of layups on the board. They banked in 2 threes and banked in a 2 when we ran the shooter off the line. So that's 8 points plus 12. That's 20. We're down 17, and we can control that. Like, we got this. And I think they really actually believed it, even if I was kind of like, but we need to go in a hurry. It needs to happen fast. So third quarter defense, I don't believe they scored for the first 4.5 or 5 minutes, and that really fueled us. But I told JC, I said, you are very, very good. Like, she's a fantastic coach, and I know it's very, very hard to lose a lead like that in this type of a situation. But she's very good. She runs great stuff, and I really want to compliment them.
We'll now go to questions for the student athletes. Raise your hand in the room, and we'll get you a microphone. If you're joining us on Zoom, please use the hand raise function, and we'll get to your questions.
Nick Jenkinson, South Central Indiana News Network. Haley, you were leading this team in the second half. You outscore Oklahoma State 42-24. Just talk about being down 17 to just going on that big run.
Yeah, the team's mindset coming out of halftime was we knew from the start of the third quarter we'd jump on them, and just focusing on defense. That's our bread and butter. So being able to just get stops and play our game, speed up the game, and hitting our shots, and we just poured into each other and just shot with confidence and just stayed with it.
Ed Holdaway from Hammond Communications. Coach told us yesterday that these 8-9 games are can be wild, and I think we witnessed that out there today. What are your thoughts on kind of being part of a game that has such a crazy comeback and comes down to one possession?
I think that's March. I think that, you know, it's 40 minutes of a game, so we just stuck with it. I think that credit to them, they put a really good basketball game. At the end, it was nerve-wracking, but, you know, finished the game strong. And, yeah, it was something I'll remember forever.
2 things for either of you. I think your coach also said these games are fun. I don't know if this was fun for you guys tonight or not, but can you speak to that? And also, can you give us a little more detail about what the conversations were like at halftime?
Yeah, I think it was fun. Even though we was down, we knew that we wasn't playing our best defense in the first half. So like Coach was saying, how we was talking in the locker room during halftime, the main point was we got to pick up on defense. Our shots going to start falling, but we got to pick it up on defense. And once we start playing defense, you could see us having fun out there because that's what, like Haley said, that's our bread and butter. And when we, our energy come from our defense. So we looked like we didn't have no energy in the first half. So picking it up in the second half with defense made the game more fun and, open up better for us offensively, like transition and stuff.
Haley, anything to add?
Yeah, the conversations at halftime was all about, there's 20 minutes left of this game, like come out strong, be confident, play our game, and get stops, and that's what we had to do, and we did it.
Anything else in the room for the student athletes? Is there anything from those of you who have joined us on Zoom? Use the raise your hand feature. If not, ladies, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Go rinse off, please.
We will now take questions for Coach. Raise your hand, and we'll get you a microphone.
Hi, Coach. I asked you this yesterday, and you didn't want to go into it because you hadn't won yet. But now that it's official and both IU men and women will face Miami men and women, how do you feel about that?
That's awesome. I mean, what a great situation. I know our athletic director was on a plane going back and forth with someone from Indiana as well. It's awesome. I mean, Indiana is known as a basketball school. I grew up in Illinois. I'm fully aware of this, the history here. And it was a great place to play, just a great environment, and we're looking forward to playing Indiana. And hopefully the Canes come out on top on 2.
Seth Tao, Daily Hoosier. Just wondering what scouting, I guess, you've been able to do on Indiana so far. And, I mean, obviously, Mackenzie Holmes didn't play today, but,
right.
With Grace Berger, just, what do you see from them that you've seen on tape? And, what do you guys think you need to do to attack them?
You're really not going to believe this, but I haven't looked at Indiana. You're not going to believe it, but I don't. My mind is way too, there's too much going on. And if I start looking at Indiana before we play, I can't do it. I start getting things confused. So we were singularly focused on Oklahoma State. But my assistant, Fitzroy Anthony, is on it. And he is associate head coach, and he does most of our defensive game plans anyway. And so we're going to have a nice dinner tonight and talk about it.
Mike Merritt from Associated Press. I'm curious if you've been in the coaching game for a long time. I'm curious if this compares to any kind of game that you've had in the past.
Well, okay, yes. The Louisville comeback last year in the ACC tournament was in my head. We did that very quickly. We did that in like 5 minutes. When we took the lead in the third, or we tied it, Shea Dwyer had a layup. That felt very similar to the Louisville thing. What happened, though, was that Oklahoma State then scored the last 4 points of the quarter and had the lead going into the fourth. And I was like, wow, was that our moment? But then it just became a slugfest, and I think Des and Haley, I'm like I said, my mind's still spinning right now, but they hit some huge shots for us on very well-executed plays. And so what I said in the locker room to the girls, and I'm an emotional coach if you haven't noticed, but I really got a little teary-eyed just to remind them, when life gets hard and you're going through some stuff and it doesn't look really good, I want you to remember this moment. I really want you to remember, look around at your teammates, remember what it took for you guys to make the comeback. Not that you did, not that we were down 17, we won, but why? And why was because we got very unselfish. We poured into each other. We looked each other in the eye. To say encourage means to put courage into somebody's heart, and we had to put courage into each other's hearts, including mine. They had to convince me. They gave me courage. So I think those moments are just, this is a huge, wonderful memory, a sport memory, but it's going to be a lifetime memory too.
Brenda Van Lingen, ESPN. Katie, you said when you got to the locker room, the team had already been talking and had things discussed. What did you learn about what they said? What did you say to reinforce or provide any
Yeah.
other encouragement?
Well, first of all, the reason that my team is required to write in the locker room when I come in is from Pat Summit. So shout out to Pat and Holly back there, because that's who I learned it from. They're required to put the positives and negatives on the board, and they have to have it solved before the coaches walk in. So that's my one shout out. Secondly, they were saying, like, we were just, without giving too much of our game plan away, we were getting beat on players. They were going to their scout, but we were forcing some switches. So maybe it wasn't the player who was her assignment, right? But then we'd switch off, and then we didn't do our job. I was like, have your teammates back. That was one thing that was really important. It's like, well, it was a screen. No, it wasn't a screen. It was a screen. I said, okay, well, come on. Everybody knows the scout report. Everybody knows personnel. Everybody knows who does what for that team. Nice try. That's not an excuse. Change it. And they were like, they were willing to do it, and that was huge.
Coach Greg Campbell with Indiana. We talked yesterday about bench contribution and how the numbers may have been misleading with you guys ranking high in the NCAA in bench points, but today your starters go 56 of your 62 points, and they played a majority of the minutes. How proud are you, one, of those seniors that were able to come out and really carry the load there when you needed them the most, and two, of your younger starters that kind of came in and really steadied the ship for you today?
Well, it's crazy. That's the lowest bench points I'm sure we had all year. But if I can tell you that those 6 points were so crucially important, they did their job. They did it at a very, very important time. Hannah did her job in the first half, and we couldn't make a dang layup. She got in there. And then Shay with the steal and the layup. That's what Shay needs to do for us. And then Lola saying, I'm tired. And I was like, you're not tired. She's like, I am tired. No, you're not tired. Okay, Kyla. Kyla comes in and does her job. But we're not, so the bench, that doesn't seem like a lot, but how productive and important was that? And that's the faith we have in each other. But we're not even close in this game without Jazz Roberts. And I know she's not up here, but boy, did she keep us in it. We were going to get blown out of the gym without Jazz. So she did her job too.
Is there anything else for Coach?
Well, I'll just move. No worries. Yep.
Is there anything else in the room for Coach?
Oh, I did that for nothing?
Anything on, does anyone on Zoom have a question? If so, use the raise your hand function. Yep. Last one for Coach, right here in the front.
Appreciate it.
Brian Henson with the Indianapolis Star. Having grown up in Illinois, had
Yep.
you been to games in?
Yeah, I've been here before. It looks very different, though. It's renovated. I'm old. It looked different the last time I was here. I don't remember when it was, but yeah.
Any particular fond
Listen,
memories?
I mean,
from
I
those
grew up.
trips?
Listen, we were a basketball family. I'm the youngest of 8. My biological father played basketball at DePaul for Ray Meyer. He was killed in a plane crash. It was a Brady Bunch family. 4 kids, 2 widow and a widower got married in 1970, and I have the greatest family in the world. But we know basketball. We know basketball.
Coach, congratulations on the win.
Well,
Oh, Holly, one more.
yeah.
Can you talk about Lola's performance in the third quarter?
Yeah.
I thought she stepped up big.
Right.
Struggled a little bit in the first
Oh, yeah.
half, but she hit big buckets.
She did. And Lola's somebody who wants you to check her. She wants you to check her. She takes it very personal at first, but when you don't coach Lola hard, she's mad at you after the game. So at halftime, it was one of those, where's your head? Get it somewhere different, because it wasn't there. And, layups, and it's very frustrating. But I thought Jalea Williams actually got Lola off by giving her some really nice passes. And I think then when Lola's a warrior and Lola's confident, I thought that's a great question, Holly, because that really changed the game. But I really thought Jalea Williams was intentional, and we weren't passing to the post for nothing in the first half. And then that's one thing we really did talk about at halftime.
Great. Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you
That was
tomorrow.
fun.